602-324-KFNN. Or outside the Phoenix Metro, call 800-293-KFNN. Now, here's Greg.
Good morning, everybody. Hope we're having a wonderful Saturday. You are with us here at the Cash Flux Group. Every morning you hear us, weekend morning, Saturday at 10 a.m. on 1510 KFNN. We're here brought to you by the Cash Flux Group and also by Keystone State Capital Corporation. And we're filling the void. There's a giant void of education out there missing in the financial world. And that education is directed specifically towards what we do with our money and how we pay off debt correctly. Not how you do it the old-fashioned way, how we pay it off correctly. And one of my favorite quotes I found this week is, it's from Unknown. I actually haven't found the author, but destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. What will you choose today for a better tomorrow? Destiny is not a matter of chance. To me, that's huge, because when we start off in our purchasing power world, when we're young, or at any point in time in your life, actually, that day defines the rest of your life as to how much interest you're willing to pay someone else, how much interest you're willing to pay the bank. And deciding and understanding what instrument you're in, how you're in it, and what options you have are more important than people give it credit to. And the biggest thing that hits all of us in an immense way, and literally it's the difference between many families retiring or even living a respectable life from what they actually even thought they were going to have, and that's your mortgage. Because when you sign up for your mortgage at your 4, 5, 6% rate, whatever it is, if you've got a good interest rate, you've signed up for 30 years of payments. Okay, but you have to realize that 5, 6% that you signed up for doesn't sound real bad, but you know when you signed your loan documents and that truth in lending statement told you that you were going to be paying basically double for the house you're about to buy, you've set yourself up to hand somebody a couple $100,000 into the future. Okay, you've just given away a couple $100,000 of your money because we're using the same system. And this, to me, it scares me the way some of you people are with paying bills. And I don't mean you're not even in bad shape. It just scares me the way that you've decided to let these instruments run your lives, to let these instruments take over and decide for you how much money you're left with at the end of your life. Because there is one constant. From the day you start earning your first dollar, and I don't care if it was a paper route or what you started doing, to the day you quit working, there's a finite amount of money that you will make. The other part of that equation is your debt. How much money you will pay for things, how much money you will pay for your house, your car, your consumer goods, a new pool in the backyard, renovations to your home, whatever. All of these things, those are finite as well. But the biggest variable in all that is how much interest you're willing to pay for all of that. Because that amount can be insanely huge. Tens, if not hundreds, I would say in most cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're committing towards interest through the rest of your life, taking that from your finite amount of income. So if that doesn't make you wake up and think, wow, maybe I should pay attention to this a little bit more, maybe there is something more for me to learn, what other aspects are out there that I can take advantage of to make this debt go away quicker and for me to decrease substantially the amount of interest I pay? Those are the questions we ask ourselves every day at the Cash Flux Group, especially when it comes to individuals, small businesses, medium-sized businesses. It doesn't matter. The equations are the same. Every one of those entities has an income of some way, of some form. They have debt in some matter, and interest in most cases on that debt is what we actually wind up dealing with. So we deal with all your tools that you have. And everybody's out there with different kinds of tools, but there's one giant tool none of you are really paying attention to. And that's the power of your cash flow every single month. The power of what you can do on a monthly basis to offset interest on your debt every single month. The impact of that financially for a family is six figures. It really, really is. For those of you that are thinking that it's about time for me to refinance, I've just got the emails, and I get the emails, I get see the commercials. It's thrown all over to us. Interest rates are super, super low. They're lower than they've ever been. They're going to go up. Okay, maybe all that's true. But at the end of the day, is it the correct thing for you to refinance? Because the question you should be asking yourself when you're doing refinance, we went through this a lot last week. I just want to touch on it again this week because it's huge. I talked to a few more people this week again who are thinking about refinancing, and the whole scenario changes when you start asking different questions. Questions like, how much interest have you already paid on that debt? Are you 5, 6, 7 years into your loan? Because if you are, the greatest majority of your payment that you've been paying for that 5, 6, 7 years, the biggest majority of that payment has been going towards interest. So you really haven't paid much principal down. So now you're ready to start all that over again. Okay, you're ready to restart your interest clock because notice on your statements, you're going to see month to month to month to month, you'll see a difference in the amount of interest that you pay versus the amount of principal that you pay. And it goes down as far as the interest goes every single month. And that's a graduating scale. Okay, the banks are doing this on purpose. They're not dumb. They want their money up front. They want their money first. So that's why you're paying primarily interest in the beginning of a loan. Well, here you are, tootling off to go drop your payment a couple $100 or $150 or whatever it is, not realizing, yes, you dropped your interest rate 1%, but you've just added on maybe $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in interest over the whole life of the loan, more than what you would have paid if you would have kept the same old instrument. Plus, you would have been 5 years, 6 years, 7 years closer to the end of that mortgage. All of these questions aren't asked and answered when we're sitting down with our lenders. They should be. Because when you retire, when you're done, it's all over, and you look back, you're not sitting there bragging about, oh, I had a 4% interest rate on my house. No, you're looking at how much money you have left at the end of the day. How much money do you have left when you're now ready to retire? Not what your interest rate was. That means nothing to you at that point in time. It's the battle you fought throughout your entire life of how much of your money you decide to keep. It's your money. It gets given to you when you perform a service, give a good out. Somehow, some way, you're earning an income. That's your money. What your decision is from that point forward is an immense impact on the rest of your life, saying, well, I'm only going to pay so much interest. That's it. And these options are in your control. You have the ability to affect this. On your auto loan, you can have a 5, 6, 7-year auto loan, but with the correct cash flow management, you can eliminate that auto loan in under a couple of years, maybe even less than a year. And the same thing with our consumer debt. In the next segment, I'm going to get into some of the things that we're taught, and you know what they are. Everybody, I hear it all the time. What are we taught? How do we get rid of debt? We pay off the highest interest first, and we try and throw extra money at that at the end of the month. Well, I was thinking about that on the way in today. The best way I can think of comparing that to what we do is, let's say I hand you a wheelbarrow, you go out to your backyard, put it next to your pool, and I give you a spoon and I tell you to fill up the wheelbarrow. Essentially, that's what you're doing. Versus if you use your cash flow and some other systems that are out there for you every single day, it's just an education away from you. You could turn that spoon into a cup. Or maybe you can turn that cup into a large bowl. What if you could turn that large bowl into a bucket? Okay. The difference is how your cash flow is offsetting interest on a monthly basis. And I'm going to be saying some different things like that here today. This is what we focus on. We focus on the money that you have coming in on a monthly basis. Where's it sitting? What's it doing? Right now, pretty much everybody I'm talking to has money sitting in a checking account. And to me, that's money doing nothing. It's sitting there, it's wasting away, waiting for you to go use it someplace else. And we're doing exactly what the banks want us to do, which is go in there, get a car loan, get a home loan, get credit cards, build up our debt vehicle, whatever it is, pay all this interest on it. Oh, and then, by the way, our monthly income, we'll take it and put it into a checking account so that, again, the bank can use that. So now they're making money off of our debt. They're using our money to make money. And we're left with what? We're left with the hope and a prayer that someday we'll get out of debt and we'll save just a couple of bucks left over for when it comes time to retire. Not realizing that everything we just did, all those things that we just decided to do based on what we were taught, which was, I would say, a complete, utter lack of education, as to how powerful our money is on a monthly basis and what we can do to it. How you can affect a mortgage. To me, a mortgage is less than a 10-year instrument, period. You can't even argue with me with that, because if you go in there and you sit down and you sign those loan docs, the day you do it, you walk out that door, you come sit down with me for 15 minutes, I'll show you how that is actually a 10-year instrument. based on what you just did. It's mathematical. It's a calculation. And you're going to live the same life you're going to live. You can go buy your barbecue. You can buy all the other stuff that you want to do. Do it similarly. What's the big difference is you're not going to be paying that $200,000, $300,000 worth of interest on the end of the life of the loan. And that's assuming we carry the same loan again through the whole process. This is something everybody needs to know. This is something we need to learn. We're not being taught on any level. So let's just start here. Understanding what your cash flow can do for you is the biggest piece of the puzzle to how you remain financially independent now and in the future. So when we get back, I'm going to dig into a little bit deeper as to what are the things we're told, what we're supposed to be doing, and how we get out of debt, and what really you can do and how much quicker can happen. You can get a hold of us at 866-229-0274. Find out about our free classes. We'll be back in just a minute.
Cashflux Group, the word debt should be attacked, not embraced. You see, the Cashflux Group specializes in showing you how to manage debt, leading to increased cash flow, not to mention more money for your retirement. They do an in-depth analysis of every aspect of your financial life so you can maximize the income you have in a way that will allow you to take control of your life. To learn more, call 480-292-3898. That's 480-292-3898. The Cashflux Group will teach you how to attack typical problem areas for debt, like paying off your credit cards, student loans, and auto loans in a fraction of the time, plus eliminating your mortgage quickly, freeing up cash flow necessary to secure financial safety for your family. Last but not least, they will help you design a path to create financial independence for your future. You live your life, and let the Cashflux Group take care of your financial life. To schedule an appointment, call 480-292-3898. Once again, 480-292-3898. Do it today.
Questions or thoughts about today's It's Your Money program? Call 602-324-5366. That's 602-324-KFNN. Or toll free 800-293-KFNN to get involved. Now back to Greg.
All right, and welcome back to the It's Your Money Show. I am Greg Sistek here, brought to you by the Cashflux Group. We're designing different ways for you to get out of debt much more quickly. And I'm not talking about somebody necessarily in trouble. I'm talking about anybody. If you're just driving around there with just an automobile payment and a house payment, don't tell me it would make a substantial difference in your life if your house payment was gone in 5, 6, 7 years and your car payment was gone in just about 6 months. Because that's happening on a regular basis with us. And I want to jump back into here. What are we told? What are we taught? And I surf around the internet a lot during the week. And all of our colleagues do as well. And we find different things. And just Google in there, how to pay off my debt fast. And you'll come up with all kinds of cute little neat articles. But I'd say predominantly they have one thread through all of them. And that is that magical, well, pick the debt with the highest interest and pay it off first. Your credit cards with the highest interest and pay it off first. I'm going to show you right now why that in and of itself is kind of like just sending a quarterback onto a football field all by himself and saying, okay, go play. I mean, there's so many pieces to the puzzle missing, it's not even funny. Okay, so another thing that makes me a little bit irritated is radio advice on how to pay off debt based on a 30-second sound shot. I mean, it's silly. There's so many more things that go into it. And I'll show you right now. Let's say you've got 2 credit cards and you got a car payment. One credit card's 21% interest. Another credit card's 10% interest. And your auto payment is 4% interest. Now, they all have $5,000 left on them. Okay, they're all the same balance. Their payments on the 21% interest credit card, let's say the payment is $104 a month. The second payment is maybe, well, forget about the second credit card. Let's just say it's between the 21% credit card and the auto loan, just to make it simpler. I know numbers don't come through the radio real well, but give me a second here. If you've got that $5,000 credit card, 21% interest, your payment is $104. Okay? Your $5,000 auto loan is a payment of $415 a month. Lesser interest rate. But when you understand cash flow and what it can do for you, you realize that if you eliminated the $5,000 auto loan, you'd be eliminating a $400 monthly obligation. Versus if you eliminated a $5,000 credit card with a 21% interest, yeah, you're paying more interest on that, but at $100 is all I've eliminated as my minimum monthly payment. So now I take my $100 and I go back after my car. How much longer does it take me to pay off that car with my $100? Versus if I pay off the car first, now I take my $400 and go attack my 21% interest. The math just doesn't add up, you guys. There's just too many pieces to the puzzle to just sit here and say, throw a little bit extra at your credit card, because that's not all that matters. There's a lot more. I've had people do that with a 0% interest on the automobile, because still, what are you doing? You're trying to get out of debt quickly. And if I'm going to pay interest, 21% interest on a card for another 6-7 months because I paid the automobile off at 0% interest first, look how much faster we're going to get out of debt. And now I have no interest. I'm done. I paid a couple more bucks in interest, but I've been able to kill both loans faster. 4 times faster, actually. So that's what this really comes down to. It's a cash flow scenario. What debt costs you every month? Not so much what the interest rate is. What is debt costing you every month? Where's your most expensive debt? It comes from that equation. What does it cost you every month, and how do we get rid of it? What happens to an instrument when we make a lump sum payment against it? Does the payment go away for a while, allowing stronger cash flow? Okay, these are other things that you need to consider, how to get out of debt quickly. There's automobile loans that you can make a major lump sum payment on, and the loan payment is deferred for a while. Now, your interest is still accruing, but what you've done is you've increased your cash flow, allowing you to attack other debt more quickly. But see, at the end of the day, it's a calculator telling us which one we're going after. Okay, and that's how you do this. And once all of those credit cards, automobile loans are then gone, your consumer debt's gone, then you're left with your mortgage. And you're going to be attacking your mortgage with the same veracity that you attack the other instruments. Okay? What you've done is you've increased your income because you've eliminated debt. By eliminating debt, that definition, eliminating debt increases your net worth. You can get your car paid off in 1 to 2 to 3 years at the very most. You're now walking around, driving around a car with equity. Not upside down, with equity. Okay, albeit short term, because yes, we know cars go down, but still, at least we're not paying extra interest driving around upside down in a car. You add that car scenario, I run through car scenarios with people all the time, when you're 20 years old and how you pay cars off your entire life until you're 50, 60, 70 years old, ready to retire. What happens during that time period, how you pay those vehicles off could be worth tens of thousands of dollars later on in your life. Buying the same vehicles, it's just how you pay them off. And then getting back to the refinancing situation, again, if you think getting out of debt is accomplished by refinancing your home to a lower rate so you have a lower monthly payment, you got to do the math. Again, how much interest are you going to be paying over the life of that loan? How much have you already paid? So unless that lender's telling you and asking you those questions, it costs you nothing for us to help you out and figure that math out, because that's what we're here for. We're here to teach you guys a different set of math principles that allow you and your family to decide more for yourselves what the difference could be. We're going to be building castles for you. Okay, we build a moat. We start off by building safe havens for people, safety zones. Okay, do you feel safe now? Are you sure about your income? Are you sure about your job? Are you sure about your business? Is it going to stay as strong as it is? Is it going to get weaker this year? All of these questions are things that you're going to have to wrestle with. But at the end of the day, if you can increase your cash flow by eliminating debt properly, paying off the debt in the correct way, you're making your business stronger. You're making your income stronger. You're allowing your monthly budget to go further, which then allows what? Allows you to more properly deal with your future and retirement in a more mathematical way. Okay? Because once that house payment is gone and you're truly investing in the future for your retirement, then the next question, and we're asking this in the beginning as well, but it really starts to focus on, okay, what am I doing for my future? What's happening? Where are my investments? Because the same gambling games that we're playing with that 30-year mortgage and our auto loan and the way we pay off debt and the amount of money we just shovel out the front door in interest over our entire lives, we're gambling in a lot of ways in the same way when it comes to our retirement. We're gambling in systems that we don't understand any more than we understand our 30-year mortgage. You're gambling in things like the stock market, situations that you can't control, you can't understand, and you put yourself and your family at risk for the reality of retirement. And I would say my average client right now that I'm dealing with may have been fairly frugal, saved some money, but they've watched a lot of that money disappear. And to me, that's unacceptable. We should start demanding more and pounding the table harder when it comes to our assets and what's happening to them. And if you're not happy with the answers you're not getting, then go someplace else and find different answers and find better ones. If someone's making money while you're losing money, I think it's time to start exploring other options. Because quite frankly, a savings account is giving you better return than losing your money. But it's understanding what else is out there, getting a little bit of education. But the question is your family worth that education? Is it worth your time to realize I should be asking different questions from the professionals handling my money? I should be demanding a little bit more from my accountant than, hey, don't worry about the house interest that you're paying. You get to use that as a write-off at the end of the year. And yeah, I'm going to keep saying this until everybody gets it. Your mortgage payment is not a blessing because you get to write off the interest. Sorry. At the end of the year, you paid a whole heck of a lot more in interest than you got back at the end of the year. So until the government gives you back more than what you paid in interest throughout the year, I don't see how that's a good scenario. So that using that as an excuse for I don't want to pay off my house because I need the interest write-off doesn't wash. The calculator says you're wrong. So does it mean your house payment disappears overnight? No. But does it mean you should find ways to get rid of it? Absolutely. Because if you're paying $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year in interest and you're getting $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 back at the end of the year, wouldn't you feel a whole lot better if you just kept $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 in your pocket throughout the year? Absolutely you would. That's an extra $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 a month that you're not giving to somebody else under the false pretense of really thinking you get a little check back at the end of next year. That's over. We need to stop doing that because living in debt the way a lot of us have been doing for years, even if you're not crazy with debt, you're responsible, still having those big instruments, that big mortgage, when you refinance your home to do a major remodel and you put it into another 30-year instrument or another 20-year instrument even, doing that on that basis just takes more and more and more money away from you and your retirement, which means you have to be that much better at whatever money you save, having it grow that much faster. And you can look around and you can see the articles everywhere about how much people have not been able to save over the past several years, how much money they've lost in their retirements over the last several years. And you couple that with the amount of money you've paid in interest over your entire life, how do you win? Well, you win by starting now, changing the scenario, taking control over your instruments, deciding, I'm done, I will pay whatever interest, minimal amount of interest necessary. I'm going to turn my whole life into a cash flow system, taking charge of my money, not sticking it in a checking account where somebody else uses it. We're going to teach you how to use it on a monthly, daily, weekly basis so that it eliminates interest out of your life, and then demand more from wherever your assets are sitting. And for us, that's just a simple process of education. And education is free. When you come to one of our classes, we're actually going to have one this Wednesday night, and we're going to go through all of this stuff. We go through the money merge, how that money merge is going to get you out of a car payment quickly. Eliminated a couple car payments just this past week. How do you get rid of a credit card quickly? You don't throw extra money at it. You turn it into an instrument that you can control with your income. The payment disappears. Your monthly income becomes your payment, and it offsets the amount of interest that you're paying on the principal because the principal goes lower. There's ways to affect all of this every single day, every single month, and the quickness to which you can take control over your life and look in 3 to 5 years from now and see where you're going to be, how much different life is going to be for you and your family is paramount. It's paramount to you now and to the future. So understanding all this is what we work on. We also understand the markets. We don't keep our eye off of it. We keep our eyes on it because it's very instrumental as far as how much we save in the future and what we can do. So we're going to be right back with our special guest, Nikhil, again. Once again, every week we have him here to give us an update on what's going on in the market. And you can get a hold of us at 866-229-0274, 866-229-0274 for the class. We'll be right back.
It's a break for an update. KFNN and CNN join forces for a look at national and international news. KFNN News Time is 10:30.
CNN Radio, I'm Barbara Hall. 6 Afghan and U.S. troops are dead after 2 incidents in Afghanistan. CNN's Frederick Pleitgen reports NATO troops killed 4 Afghans in an apparent friendly fire incident.
What we've heard both from NATO as well as from the Afghan government is that apparently an outpost manned by the Afghan National Army mistakenly got into a firefight with a troop, with a commando that was made up of both Afghan soldiers and NATO soldiers.
Elsewhere, an Afghan interpreter killed 2 American troops. China has filed a formal protest over a proposed $6 billion arms deal between the U.S. and Taiwan. Beijing says it will suspend military exchange visits with the U.S. Residents of the South and Mid-Atlantic regions dealing with heavy snow and ice today, parts of Virginia, could get up to a foot of the white stuff. The most trusted name in news. This is CNN Radio.
It's quite a proposition when you think about it. You contact Geico and you could save hundreds on your car insurance. 15 minutes, simple as that. Something they've been doing for over 70 years. You want car insurance and you want extra money in your wallet, done and done. Now, not only do you have some nice car insurance, you've got plenty of money to spend on some tasty biscuits. Or flowers for your mum. Or whatever it is you fancy.
For a free rate quote, visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Now the internet answers to you when you use Yahoo Search. It's easier than ever to find the things you're looking for. From that restaurant everyone's buzzing about, to the cool new site you heard a friend mention, to finding the things that matter most to you. Yahoo Search makes it simple to save, share, even add notes to your searches. It's the search you've been searching for. Yahoo Search. Only on Yahoo. It's you. Start your search on Yahoo today.
Yahoo! This Valentine's Day, send your sweetheart the gift that shines above all others. Name a star after them. I'm Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, we will name a star after your sweetheart and send a beautiful gift package. The new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for this year's hottest Valentine's Day gift.
How would you like to promote your small business with a free local radio ad campaign and win some cash? A small business grant worth $35,000. Just go to lovealocalbusiness.com to nominate your business in the random drawing. Customers can nominate you too and increase your chances of winning. Lovealocalbusiness.com, where praise pays your favorite local businesses. Sponsored by Intuit. No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 U.S. and D.C., 18 or older, may submit a nomination by January 31st, 2010. For official rules and details, visit lovealocalbusiness.com.
Questions or thoughts about today's It's Your Money program? Call 602-324-5366. That's 602-324-KFNN. Or toll free 800-293-KFNN to get involved. Now, back to Greg.
All right, and welcome back to the It's Your Money Show, brought to you by the Cashflux Group. You can also visit us at cashfluxgroup.com. That's CASHFLUXGRUP.com, cashfluxgroup.com. And we're going to be joined now by Nikhil Raheja, our expert on economy, markets, that we deal with and rely on a weekly basis. Welcome back, Nikhil. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Another fun week that we had. I don't know if it was as eventful as the week before, but kind of give us a little snippet as to what you saw happening this week with what you went through.
The market was down about 100 points this week, just a continuation of the trend before that. It's difficult to say what happens on a week-by-week basis because it's mostly driven by fear, and there are always fluctuations, so markets never go up or go down on a straight line. So I think this was a perfect follow-up to the first week where the markets fell down a lot, and now they've slowed down their decline. So if you look at different indicators like the volatility or the advanced decline ratio, which are technical indicators, they show that we might be up for a small rise next week.
Okay. I know another one of parts of the economy that you, or the worldwide situation, I should say, that you spend a lot of time dealing with is commodities, and that really does kind of tell us a lot about where we're going, how different economies around the world are growing or contracting. The commodities world has a pulse on that. Why don't you give us a little snapshot of what you've seen in the past few weeks, or what you see here coming up in the future? Any major surprises in any of the commodities markets?
Well, it's, first we have to understand what the premise is. I think we're having a huge deflationary crash, and during deflations, there's almost no risk asset that goes up, whether it be commodities or stocks or bonds or real estate. So, I mean, the way people value assets, the way they price assets, the way they decide, what price to pay for an asset is they decide how much they could get by selling the asset in the future. Now, during deflations, they become extremely pessimistic about the future. Hence, they decide to value it in today's price. They lower the price for today. So the same thing will happen in commodities. Now, it happens quite quickly, the way it happened in 2008. Oil prices fell from $146 a barrel to about $32 a barrel in January 2009, in just about 6 months. Now, did demand fall so much? Did demand fall 70-80% in those 6 months? No. Demand, took a long time. In fact, demand was falling. It's still largely falling. But when these crashes occurred, fear takes up, it grows so quickly that prices respond immediately and they fall.
And we're seeing that now, Nikhil, too, right? Demand is low. I mean, economies are not anywhere near as strong, so obviously the demand for oil is low, but we're still seeing the price kind of hover up there on the higher end. Is there anything we should be reading into that, or is that just, what's that a factor of?
Well, this is just a factor of the confidence that we saw starting 2009 March. As confidence started to go up, you saw higher consumption, you saw higher home prices, because, all people had to do was value their homes higher, think that homes were valued more, and home prices went up. I mean, it's interesting now, just to take a detour here, home prices went up in December while sales went down. Sales for homes went down. So there's a huge disconnect between what's going on, and I think it'll show up soon. Now, coming back to the commodities, I don't think there is as much of a huge supply deficit in the market that, that the oil prices are responding to. It's mostly, Jim Rogers, a major proponent of buying commodities, he wrote in his book a few years ago that commodities have a 20 to 25-year cycle in which they rise for 25 years and then they fall for 25 years. I think we were in one of these cycles, and it ended in 2008 with a huge crash. Now, when the cycle begins, everyone thinks that there's a huge shortage of commodities, so commodity prices should go up. Slowly, as mood picks up, more and more people start to believe the same thing when we reach an extreme. Now, that extreme was reached in 2008 when almost everyone was invested in commodities. And, commodity prices went up almost 100% from 2007 to 2008.
So here again, you get to sit here and analyze a market while there's people getting in and out of the market for totally different reasons that which you're analyzing, which makes your job even, quite frankly, more difficult. You're now dealing with people who may be charting or just thinking of it in a totally different fashion than you are, whether it's the sound investment to be in, maybe there's other altruistic reasons that they're investing. So didn't that make your job a little bit harder?
Well, not necessarily, not mine. I think the best thing about people is their best indicator is what their neighbor is doing. So once they see their neighbor buying oil or houses, they jump right on. So one of the best indicators we have is called the sentiment indicator, where we see what their neighbors are doing and what they are doing. So I think we talked about this the last time, and 97% of the people were pessimistic in March last year. That means everyone was pessimistic, and the hoarding mentality was present. Everyone thought the markets would go down. No one wanted to invest, and that's when sentiment changes. So similarly, using the same thing, I mean, people are not responding to supply and demand. A normal person who's buying futures is not really buying it because he thinks there's a huge supply shortage. He just sees that prices are going up. So he just wants to buy and make some money. And I think they've missed a huge picture. And they've also missed that if we have a deflationary crisis and prices do start to come down and consumption does come down, then there's no way any commodity can go up, be it oil or be it copper or be it silver. I have a few prices. I was looking at what the commodities have done in the last 3 weeks. I'd just like to run through these.
Yeah.
Wheat has gone down 17% in the last 3 weeks. Corn has gone down 15% in the last 3 weeks. Copper has gone down 14%. Crude oil has gone down 14%. Meanwhile, the U.S. dollar has gone up 6%. The Treasury bonds went up yesterday. They've been going up for a while. Gold is down 12% in the last 2 months. Silver is down 18% in the last 2 months. I don't see how commodities are doing well at this time. I think they've made a huge, huge turn again. And in the first week of January, most of the commodities which follow oil started to go down. And I think it's begun. I mean, it's usually, a few months ahead or a few months after the stock market makes a peak. So in 2008, it was about a year after the stock market had made its peak, and this time it's just been, right there.
So would it be fair then to say that we really have to start seeing some more economic growth of substantial proportions, do you think, maybe to push that back up? I mean, the 15% pullback is fairly significant to overcome just based on sentiment, I would think.
Yes, we'd have to see a lot of economic growth, and we did see some economic growth. Yesterday, the GDP numbers were out, and it was up 5.7% for the fourth quarter. Now, not to read too much into it, it was mostly because the inventories went down less than they had been going. So, there's some technical indicators in the GDP that they add up that makes it look inflated. But the general GDP, which calculates the sales, did not go up so much. It was up about 2%. But that's also because of confidence, because consumption went up. Economic growth would have to be up significantly. I mean, oil demand would have to be significantly higher to justify the prices that we have right now. Even though they've fallen 15%, they're still significantly higher. And you add to that the fact that if businesses close down and if all the bad things happen that happened with deleveraging and household debt going down, it's very, very difficult to justify a high commodity price. And not just a high commodity price, any asset price. And I think that's what's happening.
Okay, and then next week I definitely want to get a little bit more into the real estate aspect of this. I think that was a good point that you just brought up, and I want to kind of dig more into that next week. We're seeing houses prices, yes, increase a little bit, maybe different parts of the country a little more than others, while activity is not as strong enough to support that increase. So here we are back to the implied values on a lot of instruments. So we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. Any other quick thoughts here to finish up?
Well, yeah, the thought remains the same. Just be safe.
Right.
Don't take any risks. No need to invest in any of the, those risky investment stocks, bonds, or anything of that sort. Just stay extremely, extremely safe. And when I talk about safety, and I was talking about treasuries the other day, and someone said, you know what, with treasuries, you just earn 2% or 3%. Well, that's not exactly true, because with treasuries, you don't have to hold them until maturity. You can sell them before that and, make some money on capital gains. So, for example, these treasury bonds made 20% in 2008. Just in capital gains, not because the interest rate was 20%, but, the price for the bonds went up 20%.
Right.
So it's not just safety, it's also making a lot of money in treasuries. So it's the best place to be, unless you can find some other safe business, which we also talked about. One of the best businesses around is hard money lending. And I encourage all the listeners to do their homework and just be safe. it's never been more important to be safe as it is now.
All right. And if anybody has any questions for Nikhil, again, you can email me at greg@strikeoutdebt.com, and I'll get that over to Nikhil. Maybe he can do a little research for us if there's a particular sector you want him to dive into a little bit more next week. So other than that, Nikhil, I appreciate your time once again. Nice work, and we'll be talking to you again in 7 days.
Thank you so much.
All right, Nikhil. And now when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more again about like the hard money lending scenario, other scenarios where, you know, I see your money being someplace where A, you know where it is, B, you have confidence in the principal and where it is and what it's doing, and you have a predictable rate of return, double-digit fixed rate of return, so a scenario that you can actually count on, not a hope, not a prayer, not at the whim of somebody else's prognostication. I mean, we just went through number of different sectors here with Nikhil. Very, very intelligent. This man absolutely loves what he does. But let's face it, all the energy he puts into delving into a scenario, whether it's a sector or whether it's a commodity, doesn't mean he's right money-wise. He can be absolutely right as far as where the market's going to go, but we're still left, when we're in that just crazy world of a stock market, we're still left in a situation where somebody else is probably dictating a lot as to whether or not we are right. You know, you've got flooding of money going in and out of a sector for reasons other than what you're thinking. We're not playing in that game alone, is what I'm saying. You have several other competitors all fighting for the same thing. So logic doesn't absolutely win out at the end of the day. But one thing logic will do is it'll keep you safe. And the more logical you get about everything, your assets and your debt, the safer you're going to be. You can reach us or find out more about us at cashfluxgroup.com. That's www.cashfluxgroup.com. We'll be right back.
At the CashFlux Group, the word debt should be attacked, not embraced. You see, the CashFlux Group specializes in showing you how to manage debt, leading to increased cash flow, not to mention more money for your retirement. They do an in-depth analysis of every aspect of your financial life so you can maximize the income you have in a way that will allow you to take control of your life. To learn more, call 480-292-3898. That's 480-292-3898. The CashFlux Group will teach you how to attack typical problem areas for debt, like paying off your credit cards, student loans, and auto loans in a fraction of the time, plus eliminating your mortgage quickly, freeing up cash flow necessary to secure financial safety for your family. Last but not least, they will help you design a path to create financial independence for your future. You live your life, and let the CashFlux Group take care of your financial life. To schedule an appointment, call 480-292-3898. Once again, 480-292-3898. Do it today.
Questions or thoughts about today's It's Your Money program? Call 602-324-5366. That's 602-324-KFNN. Or toll free 800-293-KFNN to get involved. Now back to Greg.
And we're back with the CashFlux Group here, also brought to you by Keystone State Corporation. I also want to again thank Nikhil for joining us each and every week. It's a big help. Understanding what's going on in the market has a huge impact. Again, even going back to our 30-year mortgages and what we do, whether we refinance and what instrument we're in. Are we in an adjustable rate mortgage? Are we in a situation where any one of our instruments has the ability to change? Are we in variables? All of this is one of the reasons we keep an eye on the markets, not just here, but around the world, the economies, what's happening, what are interest rates going to do? Because if we need to get out of an instrument because the interest rate's about to take off on us here in the next couple of 3-4 years, that's part of the scenario as well. Okay, all of this stuff comes into play as to how quickly, what debt we would go after and why, because this does become a battle against you and your debt. We need to be sure we're attacking the correct ones, not just the ones with the highest interest. That's probably question number 18 out of 67, and it's probably not even given as much validity as you would think. It really, really doesn't matter. So next time you see an article like that, send an email to whoever it is and say, you know what, I want more. I need to learn more. There's got to be more to this, because there is. And those other tools are things like money merge, mortgage acceleration, All of these things tied in together. There's lots of bits and pieces and parts to the puzzle all over the place out there. What we love to do is we put them all together. There's a lot of great ideas. People have come up with fantastic solutions to problems, but when they're all over the place, it's hard to put them together, especially for your own self and your own life. You've got a kitchen full of ingredients for food. You can make all kinds of stuff based on what's in your kitchen. You put the right person in there, the chef. Some of you guys are fantastic cooks. You can put me in your same kitchen, and I could probably barely get you out of there with a piece of toast. That's just, that's not my world. This is the world that we live in. And when it comes to either your debt or your assets, for us, unless it can be mathematically derived where you're going to be and when it's going to happen, I don't play with it. I don't play with speculation. To me, it's too dangerous. So what we'll talk about here a little bit more, too, is understanding that, your 401k, you have options with it. Are you asking the right questions with your 401k? Can you roll it? Can you roll it into an environment where you're safer, where you're not losing money and or you're making money on a consistent basis based on fixed events, based on things that you know that's going to happen, like a payment? Okay. Are you do you even know where your money is at? Okay. Have they even responded to you as to how that goes? Do you have a loan on your 401k? And is that loan something you have options as to how to pay it off? Is that loan that you're paying keeping you from paying off your regular debt? Now, you're paying yourself back on your 401k loan, but are you swimming in debt? And what does the calculator say at the end of the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 year period? You pay yourself back, but how much money have you just lost because you've maintained interest debt in your life? So the question comes down to, again, where are you going to wind up with the most money in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now? What's the best tool? What's the best instrument to attack? That's what we have to go after. And understanding, again, what other instruments you have. Are you in annuities and you're stuck in one? And you want to get out. You're not really making any money, but the fees are saying, you know what, you can't get out of this. It just doesn't make sense. It's going to cost me too much to get out of this instrument right now. I might as well just leave it there. I'll be okay in another 20 years. But what if you actually really need the money right now? What if you would rather see it growing at a better rate? Understanding what those questions are is what we help people through as well. Some of these can be good instruments for people, but again, if you're even second-guessing yourself and saying, I'm not getting the return I want to get out, and you're not getting the answers you want to get, give us a call. 866-229-0274. The worst we're going to do is just give you a list of questions and ideas on how to become more educated as to when you're dealing with your financial situation, you have the power. Somebody's on your side helping you out with dealing with all these scenarios. And again, too, same thing with the mortgage. If you're ready to go do a refi this week because you're enamored with that 4.5% that you could still get right now, let's do some math before you get to that point and find out exactly, is it worth your efforts and why are you doing it? Are you doing it to engulf debt? Are you trying to wrap into your auto loan or your other consumer debt into your mortgage? Let's do the math on that, because that could be pretty debilitating too. If you're about to take $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 worth of consumer debt and you've got a lot of equity in your home and you're going to tie it up into a 30-year mortgage or even a 20-year or 15-year, how much more interest is that actually going to cost you? Does it really make sense? Not can you live with the monthly payment. Just stop thinking about my monthly payment. And that's what you live by. That's what we've been doing for years, for decades. And the same mindset has put us all where we are, dealing with a monthly payment that we can afford, sure, but we're still in debt forever. It's not about the monthly payment, you guys. It's about what interest you're going to pay and how much money you're left with for the rest of your life. Because that is one of the biggest variables that you have. It's like getting a 30, 40, 50% raise overnight just because you've decided, I'm just not going to pay all that interest. I'm going to have my house paid off, and I'm going to carry through equity through all of my dwellings for the rest of my life, whether you're 25 years old or whether you're 65 years old. Doesn't matter. If that house payment is a big part of your life, it needs to go away. And that's what we show people how to do every single week. The classes we're starting to have them a little bit more often because, quite frankly, they're just a lot of fun. I mean, we get to show people all kinds of different techniques that they can be using right now. They walk away right away with ideas on how to make payments disappear, how to eliminate credit cards very, very quickly. And the immediate impact to an individual's life is priceless. To me, it's absolutely priceless. I've never had more fun than what I've been doing right now. working with people, getting them in a situation where they're more comfortable, they can focus on more important things, focus on life, focus on the kids. Let's be more concerned about what we're going to do this week with the kids, when we're going to go on vacation. Spring break's coming up here, not too far away. Can you afford to take a jump into spring break? Go somewhere, do something a little bit fun with the kids. Or are you just basically hanging on with your fingernails saying, nope, I'm not going to do it, too scared, this money thing is not where I want to be. Find out what your options are. Because believe me, if you realized, like a couple of clients I had just this week, that the car payment's gone, all of a sudden there's $300, $400, $500 extra you have a month to do what? To attack debt or to feel safer. And all you're doing is turning your instrument, your checking account, into a different instrument that gives you power to eliminate your debt on a quick and timely basis. And then again, like Nikhil was talking about a little bit earlier, understanding instruments like hard money lending, other ways to create fixed rates of return where you're not gambling. I mean, some of us, I saw some of you have been talking about, we made back some money in our 401ks, and it almost makes me sad to hear the way some people talk about their 401ks. Well, I don't really pay attention to it. I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to be there for a long time, so wherever it is, it's going to wind up, I'll just be fine in 20 years. Well, I'm sure the people 15, 20 years ago probably had a similar thought process, and maybe just 6-7 months ago, just a short time ago, when we were down around 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 in the Dow, was your money where it needed to be for you to retire? Is it there now? Is it going to be there in 6 months from now? Do you know? Literally, are you gambling? Are you gambling with where it's going to be? Do you need to retire within 5 years? And that instrument that you've literally watched go up and down, is it where it's going to have to be for you to retire safely? Is it going to be there when it's time for you to retire? Timing is everything. And you have to be a professional timer when it comes to the stock market. When it comes to any one of those instruments, however well a lot of these guys are telling you they're doing, you can look at their history, see them go up and down. At the end of the day, it's all about timing. And one thing that we can be sure of is when you take interest out of your own personal life, you put timing on your side. Because now the income that you make after your debt is paid off, the interest is gone, that allows you to dictate more and more and more how you retire, where you retire, with what income you retire with. And more importantly, this is about passing on a different purchasing generation. We're going to change the way our kids buy stuff from now on. 30-year mortgage? No, that should be over. 6, 7, 8-year auto loan? Absolutely not. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in credit card debt? Forget about it. Look where it got a lot of us. Not where you wanted to be. It's time to change it right now with the kids and change it from where you are. And to do that, all you have to do is come to one of our workshops. We give you all this information, you guys. It's just right there. It's a class. It's interactive. We show you what happens. We show you what we do, how we create these money merge accounts, and what the immediate impact this stuff has on you and your family. This week, this month, next month, give yourself a raise. All you got to do is go to thecashfluxgroup.com or call us at 866-229-0274. And cashfluxgroup.com. We'll see you next week.
It's Your Money, a show about eliminating interest by maximizing cash flow, with your host, Greg Sistek from the Cash Flux Group. If you have questions, comments, or want to learn more about maximizing your cash flow, call 480-292-3898 or Greg at strikeoutdebt.com. Join us next Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. for another edition of It's Your Money, a show about eliminating interest by maximizing cash flow, with your host, Greg Sistek from the Cash Flux Group, right here on 1510 KFNN. Financial News.